It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. From Fantatrax TV, this is Good Morning Tatooine!
Good morning, Tatooine indeed. We're back once again with your weekly recap of everything Star Wars that has happened this past week. So what have we got coming up in this show today? First up, we're talking Amy Hennig, who's going to be making a Star Wars game through Lucasfilm. Liam Neeson's been talking returning as Qui-Gon Jinn. May the 4th is going to see the release of a Vera Bradley collection. Star Wars Brotherhood has had an excerpt come out featuring Dexter Jettster. Disney World is going to be stripped of its special tax status. We're going to meet the Yamdalorian and the Tot coming from Hasbro Pulse. And we've got all your updates on Celebration, Anaheim, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. But the most important part, make sure you've subscribed, ring the bell if you're on YouTube. On Facebook, like us, follow us, share the show so we can reach more people. And most importantly, comment. We want your comments to be part of the show if possible. So joining me this week from Fantatrax.com, Claire Hendry. How are you, Claire?
I'm very well, thank you. Good morning, Tatooine.
And what have you been up to? Because this is your first time on the show, so tell us a little bit.
It is. I'm very excited to be live on Good Morning, Tatooine. Yeah, it's been quite good. We've restarted Planet Leia podcast, and we've changed the format a little bit. It's myself and Johanna, and we are looking at different themes around females in Star Wars, and we're sort of taking different aspects of it and having a look. The last episode was about female pilots, because I met one of the pilots from The Rise of Skywalker at my local Comic Con in Coventry. And then this week we're recording to go out on Friday, this week's episode, and we're loosely tying it into Kenobi, and we're going to look at women from desert planets. And I've done a lot of research into it so far, and there's quite a few. And then I interviewed a woman, I shall say no more than that, from Jeddah. and you'll be hearing that interview in the podcast as well. So yeah, busy as always, Brian.
Yeah, look forward to that. And people want to check it out, go in your podcast of choice,
Please
type
do.
in Phantom Tracks Radio. You'll find Planet Leia alongside all the rest of the Phantom Tracks podcasts. So I think we should get stuck straight into the news and check out what's been happening this week. So first up, we got the news of Lucasfilm Games. Have got a new Star Wars game in production. Amy Hennig is going to be producing that. Amy, of course, was almost part of a Star Wars game previously, so this is sort of second bite of the cherry for her.
Yes, I did a little bit of research into her because it's quite interesting. It's not something that I'm necessarily into. Oh, hello, Paul. It's not something I'm into, gaming, but it was interesting to see that from my point of view, it was a woman, and she's had a very long career, actually, 30 years in gaming, and her company now that she's got going has just signed up for Marvel before then and now signed up for Star Wars. So I think looking at the tweet that she put out, which was brilliant, never tell me the odds, great tweet. The reaction to it has been phenomenal, actually.
Yeah. I think everyone that's a gamer is a huge fan of the game Uncharted. It's just phenomenal game. Yeah, so our talents are endless, I think, here, and what they could produce in the Star Wars brand could be something pretty exceptional, I think.
So what would you as a gamer hope to see?
The game I'm addicted to is a game called Skyrim, which has been out for more than a decade, but I still play it every week. And it's basically an open world game. So I would love something set in the Star Wars galaxy. It's just an open world game. Don't think this is what we'll get from Amy, but that's the ultimate Star Wars game that I would like.
And do her themed the games that they do produce, are they along that sort of or what?
Kind of, sort of loosely, a little bit like that. I would kind of liken it to Dark Forces for the people that are old enough to remember the Dark Forces game, and where you're basically getting directed along a storyline. So that's kind of more that. Paul Naylor's asking any idea on the timeline. Literally been given no information other than the fact that one's in development. I don't know even how far into development they are. You know, these things can take years. So quite often you find that they're 8-9 months into development at the time it gets announced. So we may get some teaser art perhaps at Celebration.
Yeah, it would be the right time. You know, they seem to sort of be slowly leading up to announcements.
Yeah.
You know, there's this like little teaser, this is what we're going to do. And then you'll probably find there'll be a panel at some point, hopefully, you know, explaining a little bit more about the platform or what they're going to be doing with it, how it's going to be
relayed. They definitely seem to have a lot of different irons in the work at Lucasfilm Games. So it kind of feels like, you know, there's maybe not games immediately on the horizon, but there's certainly ones that they could be showing some conceptual kind of ideas from.
Yeah.
Next up on the news, Liam Neeson was talking this past week, which timing interesting because we've got Obi-Wan Kenobi show on the horizon, and he was asked specifically about whether he would appear on anything future in Star Wars, and he made the comment that he's a bit of a snob when it comes to TV, and that he would want to be involved if it was a film. Which I thought,
I thought that was quite. I thought that was quite interesting. He said that talking to a man in latex with tennis balls around him was exhausting, and he didn't particularly want to do that again. But he would do it in a film, and I thought, well, hold on a minute. Surely the process of making a film would be a longer process than doing a TV series. But I really like Liam Neeson for obvious reasons. He's a man from my home country, and in fact I just passed where he lived, and he's been in Derry Girls the last couple of weeks. So he's popping up. This is the thing. He's popping up in unexpected places, which I think Paul's right. I think we could maybe see him as a Force ghost or
Yeah, I think
something
Paul
like
and
that.
Elliot both there kind of suggesting that he could be deliberately misleading us.
Yeah, but I mean, he could be simply because he's doing all these sort of, surprise roles in different ones. He's done Derry Girls, so I think they could be right.
I kind of think he's maybe suggesting he doesn't want to necessarily lead a multi-episode series, but I don't think he's necessarily against a nice little cameo.
Yeah, I wonder how he could be included in Kenobi, voices, or how it would lead up to it. It would be oh yes, he is in Life Too Short with Warwick Davis as well. It's I'd like to see him in it. I'm not sure how they'll weave him in, but then do you know what? I've got everything wrong so far about how they weave anybody into it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Kenobi. I think it'd be good to see him in it in some shape or form. I think.
Yeah, and Paul's mentioned he was happy to show up in Clone Wars as well. So
yeah,
when it suits him, I think it'll necessarily suit him. Maybe he just doesn't want to be the star of a show and committed to something longer term.
Yeah, he's currently filming in Donegal at the minute with the actor that was in Belfast. And so he's obviously in production at the minute. So whether he's been in Kenobi or not, that timeline could work, couldn't it? Because he's just started this movie that he's filming now. So it could work out for him,
Yeah. He also brought up the subject of the Phantom Menace, which mentioned the fact it's now 24 years old, and he couldn't believe that kind of amount of time had gone. Mentioned that it was a terrific experience as well. So obviously he's got happy memories of being involved in Star Wars. So
yeah, anytime he's not shy about speaking about, the way some people might be reticent to talk about things like that, but he seems very willing and open, and I know from people who have met him, he'll gladly talk to them about what they've done and seen. So I think it'll be a welcome.
Yeah, I think as an actor, he's kind of got a strange sort of like body of work in that. He'll do blockbusters, and then he'll do the most obscure films, and he'll do TV shows like you mentioned, Derry Girls, and so I think it's more to do with, does the role appeal to him than anything else.
Yeah, and that's what he was sort of intonating, wasn't it? That this isn't my cup of tea anymore. I've done the genre of sci-fi. I've stood in front of the actors with the stuff on, and I'm not sure I can be bothered to do it again. I suppose he's in a position now where he can pick and choose what he wants to do, really, can't he?
Yeah. I still maintain that he could come in, do a cameo, get a few days work and get a big payday, and he'd be delighted.
Yeah, and then we'll see him maybe up in the Harbour Bar in Portrush having a pint of Guinness to celebrate.
Most likely. Next up in the news, a new Star Wars collection, Vera Bradley.
Oh, is this not just wonderful, Brian? Are you not going to rush and queue and
not necessarily my cup of tea? It's kind of a very strange designs to my eyes.
Well, it's interesting. So Vera Bradley, for those who don't know it, is an American luggage company, but they seem to do a huge range of other things as well as handbags. So they're talking about doing sling bags, drink holders, bottled spectacles. Who knows? But I mean, Vera Bradley are joining. This will be, I've counted, and I'm sure somebody else will correct me, but there has been 6 other brands have done Star Wars handbags. I'm not going to say that I haven't got one of each, but I'm going to say that I've maybe got 5 out of the 6 so far. So maybe I'll add to the Vera Bradley collection. But Think Geek, Villains and Heroes, Loungefly, Her Universe, BioWorld, and Coach. So I would say that this collection, this capsule collection, probably veers towards the coach and the very early Loungefly Star Wars handbags, which were quite intricate, hand drawn, and sort of you looking at it, you know it's a Vera Bradley handbag.
Okay.
Obviously, Brian, don't you?
Yeah, struggling with this one. It was perfect timing. You were the guest this week, Claire, I think, for this
You
one.
see, I think you knew this was coming. And the beautiful thing for me is that Princess Leia is the front and center of it. So the two designers, or the chief designers, Kate Kovac and Kerry Hasselback, are huge fans of Princess Leia. And so what they've done is they've taken her and then woven, and it's all, from what I can see from what they've released so far, it's all original trilogy characters. Yeah. There's nobody new from the prequels or the sequels or anything. Nobody else. It's all OT. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've started noticing in a lot of licenses that they seem to now be selling the licenses in groups of films. So original trilogy film, prequel film, in terms of what art they can tap into. Starting to notice this a lot more.
So this will be an interesting one then for them, because who will buy this? You know, given that Star Wars is diverse. I'm hoping more than likely it'll be women of a certain age or men of a certain age, or anybody really who likes the OT and likes Vera handbags. So, I mean, what happens with these capsule collections is, what you tend to see happen is you have the Star Wars fans go and buy it because they want the Star Wars element, but then you'll get the Vera Bradley collectors who will buy it. And that happened with the makeup. It's happened with the irregular choice shoes. And basically what happens is then they all buy them, and then they go on to these Facebook groups, collector sites, and then, they start bidding for them, and it's incredible. So I think, as well as it being Star Wars fans like myself, I think Vera Bradley or, fans will be reaching out to get this pretty quickly. The problem for me is, and so I'm going to have to reach out to some of my American friends, is that it's not available in the United Kingdom or Europe.
Okay.
It's only available, and this is the problem sometimes when you get these Star Wars Day releases, particularly in the fashion elements. If it's an American-based brand like Vera Bradley, Coach, Heroes and Villains, it's usually only available in America, which is a real shame, because there's some lovely styles coming out in this. I can see there's one that's in the tone of the Bespin Leia, and that'll be absolutely fantastic. I've got a couple of outfits I'd like to go with that one. So, but yeah, it looks lovely. I'll certainly be looking at it and seeing if there is an international shipping charge, and then I'll be paying a fortune in tax as it comes through. But, that's the price you pay for being a Star Wars fan in Europe.
It is, yeah. Seems to be our lot in life.
It does. And you know what? We'll just have to put up with it.
Yeah. Something much more readily available in Europe. See that slick link there. Star Wars Brotherhood, the upcoming novel, hits shelves 10th of May, and they've revealed the latest excerpt from it, and it features Dexter Jettster. I think everyone will be delighted to see back in Star Wars. He
freaked me out. He really freaked me out when I saw him in the film. I was like, oh, I had this picture, this feeling of him throwing all these plates all over the place and stuff. But
he's just a cuddly Gordon Ramsay.
He is, and he doesn't swear as much, so that's not so bad either.
Yeah.
But an interesting take from the excerpt, actually, about the Trade Federation and on where that's going, etc. So it's going to be quite an interesting one to see where this book leads. I'm not going to lie, I'm not a great reader of Star Wars books. I'll read Claudia Gray's ones without any hesitation, but that's simply because I just like her style. So it'll be interesting to see. I'll maybe give this one a go, because it looks good.
Yeah. And they also kind of link back to Satine of Mandalore as well. She got a mention there. So interested to see where ultimately this novel goes. I think for fans of Rebels and the Clone Wars, it's going to be a huge event for them.
Yes, I have to. I mean, anybody who listens to Planet Leia knows that I haven't actually breached into the Clone Wars cycle yet, so I need to get myself there.
I'm with you
I've
there.
dabbled.
Kevin there saying he's one of his collecting focuses. So there you go. You're going to get a range of novels you can collect there. There's going to be, I think there's a Target exclusive as well, Barnes & Noble exclusive in the standard edition. 3 for you, at least.
And then you'll get a figure, Kevin, as well out of it too.
You'll be
Start up. Start a petition. We want Dexter.
Yeah.
See if that becomes any more popular.
A much more sort of controversial story this week. It's kind of been building for a long time. I don't necessarily want to go in too much into the politics. I guess that's for the people of Florida. But effectively, you've got the Republican governor of Florida who's taken umbrage with stances that Disney have taken over various issues, but mostly to do with gay rights in the state, and almost and what they effectively admitted was a revenge act, have changed the laws in terms of taxes, where Disney had an element of favoritism in that they controlled their own district where their land laid, and so they could set their own various elements like fires, roads, and all that kind of thing. It was going to get taken away from them from June next year.
Yeah, and I quite like the fact that if they wanted to set up a nuclear power plant, they could have.
Why didn't they? Mickey Mouse and Goofy in charge.
Cruiser, that's clearly what it's going to be powered on. I don't understand it. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to necessarily get into the whole rigmarole of it because I don't really understand it. But it'll be interesting what will happen then with my understanding is that Disney look after the condition of the roads.
Yep.
They pay for
so effectively, in short, basically Disney act like the local council for the area that they operate
correct.
in.
And so now will they have to apply for the local district to come out and fill out that pothole, or will they just go, well, do you know what, we'll just do it anyway? And then does that mean that, the local place, they have to employ the people that have been doing it for Disney? I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's going to get very messy. Effectively, you're in a situation where effectively a neighbouring district is going to have to expand to take on that area, take on the liabilities and collect the relevant taxes to cover those liabilities, I think.
Yeah. I
kind of, if you separate the elements out, I kind of understand. It seems very bizarre that in the first place that they gave them this stance and this benefit of being their own district and doing their own thing. I can imagine it being contentious for many years with people who are local. The very strange element of it is the way that it's been laid out in this instance, and it is, the tax status is being changed purely out of spite, and they're quite happily to say that.
Yeah,
that's a difficult thing. It's going to
he's made no bones about that, has he? He has said this is because of this, and that's why it's happening.
Yeah.
End of.
And it's going to come with huge cost implications for Disney, and already there's people speculating as to will Disney can continue in the state of Florida. I don't think I'll get to that length, but I think it will hamper investment and expansion and so on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm planning to go hopefully next year, and I would say that June 2023, isn't it? So I think you'll start to see a price hike.
Yeah,
I mean, it's already expensive to get over to Florida at the minute, isn't it? So
it's a difficult balance because obviously they've got California, they've got Florida, they're landlocked in California, and Florida, they've got as much land as basically they want, but are they now going to want to invest in that area further? It's going to be interesting to watch to see how it develops.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that Hong Kong's Disneyland, I think it's Disneyland, has only just opened for the first time since the pandemic this week. So that'll be, so things are starting to open up wide, worldwide now. And where is it all going to go for Disney? Are they going to be able to maintain the popularity and keep, and the price hikes the prices are a lot more expensive even now. And then this is going to, hit. Will that then affect the rest of them? Paris, Hong Kong, wherever.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see, really.
Definitely one to watch. And I think from our perspective, being over in the UK, it's a lot more interesting what's going on, I think, and less personally heated, I think, as it is in some of the discourse in America.
Yeah.
Much more lighter note. The
Yay!
Yamdalorian and the Tot. This is the kind of Star Wars news we like.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm not going to lie. I've got a couple of Star Wars potato heads already.
Yeah.
I feel that this one may be added to my collection.
I know Kevin's a big Hasbro collector. Had a lot of tough words to say on Hasbro of late, but surely even Kevin, if he's still there, will comment and say he loves this one.
Why could you not?
Yeah. The Mandalorian, the child, turned into Mr. Potato Heads. Very cute. It's available now in Hasbro Pulse for people that want it. Why would you not want it? Look at that.
Look. I mean, I have such. I think this is the way, and this is what we need to be getting, especially Kevin. And I just love it. I just think, look at it. I remember. I've got a Stormtrooper. I've got the Darth Vader one, and endless hours of fun.
Kevin has responded.
Bless him.
And Paul there saying at last a collectible he will unbox. Very true. That's one that you can't keep in the box.
Oh, boys and their toys.
I know.
Oh, you know.
Terrible.
Yeah, I listen to all the man toy talk and it is, but it's Star Wars handbags for me and the Yamdalorian. This is the way.
That's the way. Neither of us will be heading this way.
No,
Star Wars Celebration. We're both missing out this year.
Look, I'm even wearing the T-shirt of the one that was never to be.
Oh,
I got this delivered for what should have been last year's one. Gutting, absolutely gutted.
Yeah, so they've dropped Celebration this year right in the middle of school year, which makes it very difficult for an awful lot of people. They've done this before, which is really bizarre. It feels like a way to get people to their parks. But you've got D23 that they managed to do in August. Why can't they do that? It's good to be more accommodating for schools all around the world, because at the end of the day, it's good to be about the kids.
Exactly. It's, there's generations are, forming. If you listen to everybody talking about, well, I'm an original trilogy girl. Johanna is a prequel, and there's bound to be fans, of the new one, and they're all school age.
Paul Naylor, he's there. He's in the comments. He's a huge sequel trilogy fan.
Oh, he loves it. I know, it's his favourite. Him and I had a great time at the premiere of one of them. That was an interesting one with Extinction Rebellion at it. That was quite amusing. But look who's coming to Celebration.
Yep.
That absolutely tugs at my heartstrings, that one. Billy Lord. That'll be a tough call, I think, for her, because I think a lot of people will be talking about her mum. And I think, she's had a great couple of years. She's got married. She's had a baby. She seems to be in a really good place. And I think that'll be lovely.
Yeah.
For her to go and feel like that. But I remember watching her on the stage when she was talking about her mum at the Star Wars panel for Star Wars, and oh god, I just cried my heart out. So I think it'll be very tough for her, but I think it'll also be a nice thing to be surrounded by fans and doing it that way. And
she's gone on to have a hugely successful career as well, beyond what was her initial cameo in The Force Awakens. She's established herself as a highly credible actress as well in America.
Yeah, she's in that TV series. I can't remember the name of it, but that's they're
Scream
following
Queens.
on. That's it. That's great. Yeah, she's and her Instagram is a hoot to follow. She's always out and about, having a good time, and just seems like a really lovely girl. And I wish her all the best. And I hope this is a successful celebration for her. I hope that she'll gain a lot out of it. And then Kelly Marie Tran, I've met Kelly Marie Tran at the Last Jedi premiere, and she was lovely. Anybody who's got an opportunity to go and see her and meet her, she is just lovely. She's really friendly, really bubbly, very positive, and again, a great addition to the lineup, really.
Yeah.
So I think that's good.
Another addition to the lineup, Mr. Ewan McGregor.
Be still my beating heart. So he was announced, and literally his photo ops and autographs sold out within, an hour. I think it crashed, and it was brilliant. I'd like to. I think that. I think they haven't announced Hayden Christensen yet, but since he did the last celebration, I think he'll be there, and I think that photo, if they do the photo op with the two of them, that'll just go like that.
Yep.
That'll be incredible.
Kevin's mentioning the price, $300.
Yeah, but that's all right. If that's the thing is you go to celebration and you know what you want to do, don't you?
Yeah.
You have your list of things that you want to do, or when people come out, mine was always, and it still hasn't happened, but Harrison Ford, and he should have done it, except he blooming crashed that plane, didn't he?
Yeah.
The week before.
Selfish.
How very dare he? So you line up, you set your budget, and you think, this is the ones I want to do. And, I remember in the day paying, and I was saying this to you earlier, Brian, wasn't I? I got Mark Hamill's autograph 7 years ago in Anaheim, and then it cost me $200. So yeah. There's clearly plenty of people want to buy him because he's sold out already.
2 nights sleeping in the basement, Anaheim Convention Centre will get you a Ewan McGregor autograph.
Yeah.
Save the price of your hotel, because you won't be using it for the big event. You'll be sleeping, getting free pizza.
I miss
Mr. Naylor's
that.
going as Mr. Newbold's caterer. There's ways and means to get the £300.
I know, and the podcast stage will be it's going to be a good one, I think, this year, isn't it?
Yep, talking to the podcast stage.
Especially at Saturday at what time? 2:00.
Yeah, 2:00 on the Saturday, making tracks live on the podcast stage. Speakers are going to be Mark Newbold, Paul Naylor, Matt Booker, Carol Bayliss, and Greg Robertson.
What a lineup.
They'll sign autographs, and they'll do the autographs for free.
Absolutely.
If you go along, you might even get some free Phantom Tracks swag. There you go. That's a deal. That's going to be a deal.
That's if Carl doesn't get his drum kit out, and then you might have like a whole show going on there. No one's ever really gone, that was the best podcast in Chicago, I tell you. Yeah, there's a story there, you see, Brian. There was a podcast didn't turn up, and because we were coordinating it all, we had to fill in. So there's a new Phantom Tracks podcast has got to come out of this one, and it was called No One's Ever Really Gone.
There you go.
And we managed to fill it in. But it'll be great. And it's a good opportunity for anybody that listens to the podcast to come up and see them, because we've got Desert Planet Discs, Start Your Engines, Making Tracks. We've got, a good range of guys up there talking about what we know and what we do best.
Yeah. And on the Saturday, don't know what they're going to talk about. They'll reveal it close at the time. But Kenobi, the first episode is going to be out, or the first 2 episodes is going to be on the agenda. There's going to be some announcements from the Thursday, Friday celebration already made as well. possibly even from the Saturday morning big panel as well. So there'll be lots to talk about at the show.
Yeah.
And also, celebration news-wise, Asmodee, they're going to be there, and they're running their game sessions from the Friday through to the Sunday. If you're a big fan of the games, the Outer Rim Unfinished Business is going to be one that's going to be playable there. I highly recommend that people do these things. Quite often you don't find the opportunity to actually sit down and do things, but I suggest if you've never did Star Wars gaming, do this. Do some of the art stuff as well. Gives you a break from the show floor, and it's good fun. You learn something new, a new part of Star Wars. Big Kev mentioned Geek Stuff. TNG is going to be roaming around as well. Hasn't been invited to be part of making tracks. Terrible, that isn't it?
Shocking.
Terrible.
Shocking. I tell you, one of the things that I loved going to when I was at Celebration, and I don't know whether because of COVID's restrictions they're able to do it or not, but the Art of Japanese Vegetable Carving.
Yep.
That is a great panel to go to. I remember seeing it for the first time in London, and Marcus, my husband, and I were like going, really? But yes, this is a thing, and it's turned into a really, really like proper panel. It's fabulous. So if you're at Celebration and you see the Art of Japanese Vegetable Carving, you must go to that.
Yeah,
it is brilliant.
I always suggest people do the odd panel that you never thought you wanted to do. You find something entirely new.
Yeah.
Talking of panels, another slick link there by me. I'm doing great today. Oh, I've gone too fast. I've gone too far. Let's go back. Back one. There we go. On the collecting track, Steve Sansweet's got a panel looking at 30 years on from the release of his concept to screen to collectible book, which was one that kind of redefined Star Wars collecting for a lot of people. So that's part of the phenomenal collecting track. If you follow that at Star Wars, always a fun collecting track to be part of as well. So Steve Sansweet will be there, and he's going to be there with the Ranch Obi-Wan experience as well, which is always a worthwhile.
Oh, that's such a worthwhile visit. I love walking around there, and he's lovely. He chats away to you about all his collection and everything. He's really nice, and the guys that are with him, they're just so knowledgeable about everything, aren't they? You know, and there's usually a big queue, so get there early so you can do it.
Yeah.
All the cool kids, except us two.
Except us two.
We're the coolest.
Yeah, terrible. But whilst they're at Celebration, tired, restless, having slept on concrete floors, eating rubbish pizza, we'll be sitting at home watching Disney Plus, and we'll be watching Obi-Wan Kenobi, big box of popcorn.
I can't wait. I've been following Rupert Friend this week because he's got his new series out with, oh gosh, I've forgotten her name, The Anatomy of a Scandal. Great show at the minute on Netflix. And he's been talking about being in Kenobi. Yeah. And at first I couldn't work out who he was in it. So I had to sort of Google it. And I'm like, oh my God, he looks brilliant.
Yeah, doesn't look like him at all, does it? It's like crazy.
No, absolutely not. It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. I am very, very excited for this.
Yeah. I thought the most interesting line he gave was he thinks that Ewan McGregor's doing things with his role that is a dream for fans of the original films. And that's the kind of line that out of his quote that probably catches me more than anything. Because I'm not so interested in seeing Ewan in a hugely action-packed piece. I kind of really want a character piece, and I think he'd be a great actor to deliver that.
Yeah, I think, and he said about there being plenty of Easter eggs as well. So that's the sort of thing. That whole bit, I'm looking forward to seeing all that.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be great. I'm very excited.
Just jumping back to Celebration there, Elliot's asking if we've seen any rumours of return to Europe. I haven't, but I would love to see it happen.
Yeah.
I can actually see them going back to like an annual cycle of celebrations. Obviously, pre-COVID, that was kind of where it was heading, the direction it was heading in. So, very possible they could do something in Europe. And obviously MCM in Europe, but mostly the UK, are part of the Reed Group as well now. So the logistics of them doing a UK show is that much easier.
Yeah, I mean, and there's and it doesn't always. I mean, I'm sure it would if it comes back and it comes back to England or the UK. It will be in London, but actually the NEC in Birmingham is a great venue, and there's loads of hotels and loads of things, and they're running on the back of doing the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
This year, so actually the infrastructure is there that ready for them. It would be nice to see it somewhere. If it was in Europe, somewhere central.
There's also Tekka in Aberdeen, if anyone from Lucasfilm's watching. It sits empty most of the year.
Yeah, come on. Make it happen for the pair of us for this one.
Next up, Hayden was talking about Obi-Wan as well. And he mentioned he's gone back, he's rewatched all the films, and he's got into the animated shows, the Clone Wars and Rebels. He's done better than me because I haven't gotten into Star Wars animation at all. But, he mentioned about that they did a lot with his character in those shows, so he's obviously looking to tap into what they've done with Anakin in those shows and bring that into his performances.
Yeah, because I suppose he sort of left it all, didn't he, behind, and then this sort of thing metamorphosed, without him, and then he's gone. They've said, right, we want you back in, and he's like going, oh, right, I need to understand where my character's gone, what my character's done, where it's going to go, where it's taking me. So yeah, it's an interesting way of doing it. But yeah, I'm with you, Brian. I did Rebels with my daughter because she really enjoyed it. Haven't got into Clone Wars at all, and I probably should have. But
I'll probably end up one day watching it.
There's another lockdown I might try. But I mean, I tried in lockdown to watch them, and there was too much of the Big Bang Theory going on. So
all I can say is Dave Filoni's grown out of animation as well. He's on the live action stuff. He's heading in the right path, Dave.
Yeah.
We got a banner art for Obi-Wan, which kind of revealed a clash between Obi-Wan and Vader. It looks like it's going to happen.
Well, or does it happen? Is it like a vision? Or
yeah, it's very possible.
I can't see, given what happened in A New Hope, how a battle will take place between Vader and Kenobi. I can't see, where it comes unless it's in a vision, or something. Whether it be Vader has the vision or Kenobi or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, this looks absolutely awesome.
Yeah, both Paul and Neil were mentioned whether either hoping for Anakin in flashbacks there, or will he appear in flashbacks as Anakin. I think Ewan McGregor kind of dropped the ball in an interview by mentioning how excited he was to have Anakin back on the set with him, and which kind of maybe dropped that one in there. So I expect flashbacks. I think it's going to be a key part of the show.
Yeah, I quite like. I laughed at when they were talking about Vader coming onto the set. I think that was, I can't remember which interview that was, a couple of weeks ago, and it was Ewan was like, hello, I'm here. It's about me. And it's like, hello. But yeah, so I think there's going to be a lot of toing and froing on this, and I'm hoping for new fans that will be drawn in for this. I hope it's not going to be too much for them, but for me, bring it all on. From a purely selfish point of view.
Alongside the poster, we got a blurb, which is still keeping it very, very, very loose in terms of telling us where the plot's going to go. But effectively, we're in a situation where we know they're going to start off in Tatooine, and there's going to be an event that causes Obi-Wan to have to go off-world to resolve, and thus the adventures ensues. And it looks to me as if they're going to use the Inquisitors as the way to separate Obi-Wan from Vader, so they don't have to meet.
Yeah,
that kind of seems to be the tool for them, isn't it?
Oh, I think the Inquisitors look fantastic. I think
Yeah.
the whole thing is really sleek. It's got a bit like the Mandalorian and Rogue One. It's got that feeling that I'm looking for in a Star Wars
Yeah.
thing, and I know that's old school in a way, but people have warmed to that from the new fans have warmed to that. So I think that would be really good.
Yeah. And I kind of mentioned in last week's show, I kind of felt that they dropped the ball a little bit in terms of promotion for Kenobi from when the trailer dropped and they went really quiet. So it seems to be ramping up again. And just on the horizon, we've got Total Film. We're going to have a big feature on it as well. So a great looking cover. And for subscribers, they've got their own cover as well, which is the lightsaber.
Coming to a Galaxy's Edge close to you, or a pre-order.
Yeah. So Thursday the 28th, it's going to be on your newsagent's bookshelves. If you're a subscriber of it, it should be hitting your doormat tomorrow.
I mean, how awesome does that look? That cover there.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant. I think it's great. But
simple
I can
and effective.
Correct. Well, you know what it is, don't you?
Yeah.
Everybody does. It's great. So yeah, but as I say, that'll be on a Galaxy's Edge straight after Celebration, I would expect, unless it's there already. But I don't think it is in the Saber Workshop.
I don't think it is, but they have been adding quite a lot of new ones of late. I think there's the one from the last video game.
And I think Leia's one has hit there too. I'm still waiting for mine to be. Oh, I've ordered it. That was my Christmas present to myself, and I'm still waiting for my one to go with that. And then I'm going to have. I've got then the green and the blue, and then Leia's one. I've got the Skywalker sabers, and they're all going to be in a lovely display going up my staircase. Not that the husband knows that bit yet, but that's
keep that a secret.
He's not watching now, so it's fine.
And last bit of news for this week, we've got a composer for Obi-Wan, Natalie Holt, who name didn't ring a bell with me but when I started looking into what she'd done before. She's done a lot of things where I love the music.
She's done loads of things. Loki and Batgirl. She's doing the new Batgirl movie as well, so that'll be interesting. But I think the interesting bit for me is John Williams writing Kenobi's theme. I never even thought that he didn't have one.
Yeah, it's that very strange thing in terms of he dies that early in the film that they didn't think he needed his own theme. Crazy.
Like, what's that about? I never thought. It didn't even occur to me that he didn't have one. Because there's that sort of thing coming through it, and then that's nice that she's then. And again, I'm sure that Johanna and I am going to touch on this about. There's another female in another really big role. It'll be interesting to see, how she glides that through the series.
Yeah.
Because I think so far the composers have done a great job, with the music and the themes running through The Mandalorian and, and the Book of Boba Fett. I've really enjoyed it.
It did give us the best line of John Williams phoning up Kathleen Kennedy and said, "I just want to write Benny a theme." I just like the fact that they're calling him Benny.
Really? I can't really imagine that. I'm just going to write a theme for Benny. I can't see John Williams doing that. Well, who are we to question?
Yeah.
I think that's quite a funny one. That made me giggle.
But yeah, I loved their work on the Loki theme as well. So I'm interested to see what she delivers. And it's a tough task because it's so intertwined with the prequels, with the Clone Wars, with the Rebels, with the original trilogy. It's going to be hard for her to find something to give it her own mark, whilst also sort of making it fit within the constraints of what's come before.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing about it is if you've ever been to, I've forgotten his name, who did the music panels at Celebration, and he talked about how the music intertwined from the original trilogy with the Emperor's theme all the way through. So, will we see that happen in this? There's all these sorts of things. It was very cleverly done. So, it'll be interesting to see how it all fits in.
Yeah.
Because of course the Mandalorian one was very Western, wasn't it? So this has got to be more, if this is going to feel, as Rupert Friend said, about, like an old trilogy sort of feel to it. David Collins, that's it. Thank you, Paul. That was a really interesting panel. And if he's doing another panel about music again in Star Wars, that I thoroughly recommend that. I learned so much about that. And it'll be interesting to see if that happens through this as well.
Yeah, definitely. And with that is all the news for this past week.
I know. It's been a busy week.
It has been very busy.
Shopping.
We've been talking about everything's kind of slowing down and they're holding back things for Celebration, but there's always Star Wars news trickling out and a lot of interesting things happening. So, and we've also got May the 4th just on the horizon as well, so we can expect things to get pretty hectic for that. Everybody likes that. It's a new shopping holiday for the year.
I mean, in a way, it's, May the 4th and Star Wars Celebration being so close together, that's going to hit a lot of people's bank balances quite hard.
I think so. I did all my spending this week already. So I might reveal it on a future show. But I won't be saying how much I paid. Yeah. But thanks, Claire, for joining me this week.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Brian. I've really enjoyed it. There's nothing better than sitting talking Star Wars.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely. And we'll see everybody back here for the show next week. Thanks everyone.
Thanks, Brian.
Keep up to date with the latest Star Wars news each and every day on FanthaTracks.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, and Pinterest at Fantha Tracks. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow Fantha Tracks TV to be alerted to new content and to be a part of our live shows.